we went to Carbin, Panal and Macahulon Reef, north of Negros Island. A team from the State University of Northern Negros, me, very talented graduate students from the University of Vienna, and the one and only Professor Kent Carpenter. So let's see what we saw. These reefs in the north of Negros Island in the Philippines have a really unique underwater fauna. So partially this is probably the case because they're relatively isolated in the middle of the Visayan Sea and there's really not much land around them. The other reason is probably that these reefs have been harmed. We'll get back to that in a second. We saw gobies like this beautiful Exurias bellissima. And then of course we saw more gobies like this small species of Aviota. We saw a bunch of really interesting commensal fishes like this Diadema clingfish, and we saw a fauna of the typical reef fish in the Philippines, which are parrotfish and wrasses and angelfish. Oddly, we did not see any surgeonfish. Here's another sea slug for you. And it was very striking that in some of the more destroyed areas we saw a lot of these spaghetti worms, which are annelid worms which have these mount tentacles which stick out from the rubble. Very unusual. And yes, we saw these guys, crown of thorns sea stars, Acanthasta solaris, in this part of the Pacific Ocean. These are starfish which feed on living corals, preferentially Acropora staghorn corals. And particularly on Panal Reef, they seem to have done quite a bit of damage. Oddly, we saw more of these animals on Macahulon Reef. So, you know what's going on. Very interesting dynamics on these reefs. And we also visited the mangroves. Mangroves are always a fascinating ecosystem to me, at the boundary between land and ocean. These trees have to pull off quite some physiological tricks to be capable of growing in seawater. And also the mangroves have a very unique set of fish species living in them. There was a pufferfish, which I observed, which I don't think I've ever seen before. So, we are working on putting some scientific output together coming from this expedition. So stay tuned on this channel and check out our work in the academic journals, hopefully in a year or so. And see you soon. This was really quite fantastic. Thanks again to everybody at the State University of Northern Negros. And I hope you enjoyed this footage.